After his victory at Poimanenon in 1224, John III Vatatzes had secured his throne and broken the Latin Empire. However, Theodore Komnenos Doukas, the recently self-proclaimed Emperor of Thessalonica, jumped in to fill the power vacuum in the west. He was aggressively pushing towards Constantinople and refused to rule in John's name. This made him a direct contender and resulted in a full schism between the Western and Eastern Greeks. To curb Theodore's expansion and block his path to Constantinople, John pushed into Thrace, taking Adrianople from the Latins. This marked the return of official Byzantine presence in the region since the sack of Constantinople in 1204. Theodore saw the encroachment by Nicaea and launched a campaign into Thrace. Theodore's main army quickly overran the region and blockaded Adrianople. To avoid spilling Byzantine blood, the Nicaean garrison was allowed to leave the city unmolested and return to Anatolia, using Theodore's ships. With Adrianople in his hands, Theodore's path to Constantinople was clear. Things only got worse for the Latins, as Emperor Robert passed away, leaving his 13-year-old brother, Baldwin II, as heir. The Bulgarian Tsar, John Asen II, offered to become regent. This would put the Latin Empire and Constantinople under his jurisdiction. This soured the relationship with Theodore without any gain, as the Latin barons picked John of Brienne, the previous king of Jerusalem, as regent instead. Theodore pivoted his attention towards Bulgaria and invaded in 1229. At the Battle of Klokotnitsa, he was outflanked and decisively beaten. His captured army was allowed to go back home, but Thessalonica was now a Bulgarian client state. Theodore himself was blinded and put into captivity, eventually being released in 1237. He quickly retook the throne of his son, although the realm was left divided. With Bulgaria the supreme power in the Balkans, it teamed up with John III to jointly besiege Constantinople in 1235. However, with mighty Theodosian walls, Venetian and papal aid, the Latin Empire withstood the onslaught. Afterwards, Bulgaria became neutral, and Tsar John Asen II died in 1241, leaving Bulgaria fragmented and weak. This meant Nicaea was now the main power in the region. Before John III could take Constantinople, he would need to take care of Theodore in Thessalonica, as he feared his ambitions and capability. John invited Theodore to visit Nicaea with safety assurances, which Theodore accepted. He was treated well and lavishly, but was not allowed to leave Nicaea. With Theodore neutralized, John III crossed into Europe in 1242. His army and navy moved unopposed, besieging Thessalonica. After prolonged resistance, Theodore's son reached an agreement with Vatatzes. He kept control of Thessalonica, but was forced to renounce his imperial title and accept Nicaean suzerainty. Eventually, Thessalonica was fully integrated into the Nicaean state, and Vatatzes could focus on Bulgaria. Listening to the advice of his Magus Domesticos, Andronikos Paleologos, the father of the future emperor Michael VIII, he struck when the Tsardom was in disarray, quickly invading Thrace and taking almost the whole region in 3 months. Afterward, the Bulgarian state could only acknowledge the conquests. During this period, the Pope would wage war against Nicaea, calling crusades to aid the Latin Empire. To counter this, the Nicaeans made an alliance with the Holy Roman Emperor, Frederick II, as he was also an enemy of the Pope. Frederick even wrote to John, admiring how the Patriarch was subservient to the Emperor. Nicaea would also send contingents to aid in Frederick's Italian campaigns, and he would mutually send aid to help against the Latin Empire. John III Vatatzes passed away in 1254. His son, Theodore II Lascaris, succeeded him. Theodore II had to deal with the invading Mongol Horde, which had already annihilated the Sultanate of Rum. Theodore ordered that the Mongolian representatives be brought to him by a long and meandering route with well-armed soldiers stationed along, in order to give a false impression of the size and might of the empire. Although the Empire of Nicaea became basically a nominal client state, they were treated well due to diplomacy and cooperation. Through this, Theodore and his successors were able to secure the restoration of an Orthodox patriarch in Antioch. With mutual benefits to both countries, the Nicaeans could present the relationship as an alliance of equals. Although Theodore's reign was brief, he repelled a Bulgarian invasion, reformed the army, and strengthened the empire's position as a whole. Nicaea was now ready to take Constantinople back. Upon Theodore's passing, Michael VIII used his influence and usurped the throne from John V Lascaris. Acting as regent, he dealt with the Epirus Sicily-led coalition at the Battle of Pelagonia in 1259 AD. Afterwards, with no one left to challenge him, he besieged Constantinople. However, due to Venetian and papal aid, he was unable to take the city. 1 year later, a general named Alexios Strategopoulos was sent to keep an eye on the Bulgarian border with 800 soldiers. On his way, local Thracian farmers informed him that the Latin and Venetian garrison left Constantinople to raid a Nicaean island. Once the scouting party was near the city itself, and with the moon in the sky, local sympathizers were able to slaughter a gate garrison and open the door to Alexios. Using surprise to his advantage, he set fire to the Venetian quarter. This panicked Baldwin and the remaining Latins, who thought a huge army had broken in. They immediately fled the city using Venetian ships, even leaving the Emperor's regalia. The Golden City was now back under rightful Byzantine rule after 50 years of Latin occupation. Michael VIII was crowned in Hagia Sophia, despite being only regent. Subsequently, he then blinded John V and locked him up on his 11th birthday. This caused fierce condemnation from Byzantine society, especially from the Orthodox Church, with Michael even being excommunicated by the Patriarch. Michael's son, Andronikos II, would later come and personally apologize to John for his father's actions. In the end, the recapture of Constantinople carries a bittersweet taste. Despite the Lascaris dynasty's painstaking efforts, rebuilding the Byzantine state from one hard-fought victory to another, they were ultimately robbed of their final triumph. If you want to relive this tumultuous period, and perhaps change it for the better, join our Roblox Byzantine group, where you can experience Constantinople and participate in large-scale battles.